Welcome back to Cardinal Territory. The Cardinals dropped a heartbreaker in 10 innings to the Toronto Blue Jays last night. But hey, guess what? It's a brand new day, and we have two super fun guests on the show today. So excited to have Cardinal starting pitchers Andre Pallante and Matthew Liberatore as our guests this week. Guys, thank you for doing this. How are you?
Doing well. How are you?
Yeah, pretty good. Excited to be here.
Yeah, no, I'm really happy you guys could do this. I always think it's great to get I'll take, any kind of interview, but to get two players at once, I feel like it's just kind of fun. We can switch it up a little bit. So yeah, super thankful for you guys doing this. We'll start with just a couple of baseball questions because that's what we're here for. We'll start, really, I guess we can start at the top, right? A lot was made of this rotation coming into the season and how it had so much to prove. Not a lot of overpowering velocity or swing and miss. And you guys as a unit have basically said, doesn't matter, don't care, still going to get it done. And you have. I think coming into play today, the rotation has a collective ERA of 3.84. And you guys have recorded the most ground ball outs in all of baseball at 389. Andre, we'll start with you. How are you finding ways to modernize your game and evolve and get success, but still relying on the things that got you here and have made you the pitcher that you are?
Yeah, I think part of it is just kind of like, I don't know how far back you want me to go, but really like understanding that I'm a ground ball pitcher. It didn't really happen until I got to the big leagues. Like I didn't even know that I got a certain amount of ground balls until I got here. And then like they're like, hey, you're kind of leading a league in it. And so I always thought I was just, like everyone else, just got, whatever the normal amount of outs. But I've learned that that's part of my game, and that's part of the reason why I don't strike a ton of guys out. It's hard to strike a guy out if you get people out before you get to 3-0-2 counts, 1-2 counts. So really just learning how to limit damage and trying to keep the ball in play and just stay on the aggressive and keep it down.
Libby, kind of the same question though. Obviously, you're a little different prototype than Andre, but. And we've talked a lot about the process and your journey to get to where you are right now. But what do you think has really clicked for you this year in terms of the execution?
I think just the trust in my process. I felt like I always had a good idea of who I was and what I wanted to do. And I also felt like I had a good amount of knowledge and tools and resources at my disposal. And I think over the last 2 years, really just figuring out how to organize those into a consistent daily plan has really helped me. And then just being able to carry that out onto the mound and the presence and the calmness and confidence that gives me when I'm out there, I think it allows me to be more present in those at-bats and be able to read swings and read the game and notice what's going on in front of me instead of trying to fight myself on the mound.
The team has made a lot. I mean, we've heard these words all season long, like runway, opportunity. I'm personally okay if we never hear the word runway again, but it's fine. But both of you have similar tracks where you were kind of bouncing up between majors, minors, rotation, bullpen over the first few years of your career. And while it wasn't totally similar, there are some overlying similarities there. What this team has committed to doing to you, and I think most importantly, has made good on, it's given you the opportunity to work through your struggles at the major league level instead of just either, optioning you or diminishing your role that they would have in years prior. The fact that the organization came out and said, hey, we're going to give both of you a steady opportunity in the rotation, regardless of results. You're going to have chances to figure this out and perform. What has that done for you? Andre, we'll start with you.
I mean, I think the most important thing is it makes it a little bit less stressful. Like, I don't know, I'm sure, a lot of people understand, or a lot of people have been in the same line of work when it's like, hey, if you don't perform in the first every outing, it doesn't feel like every outing you're fighting for your job in a way. And you're able to be like, hey, I can trust my process. I can trust the fact that, for me, it's like throwing my fastball down in glove side. And like, if I do a good job of that and results don't go my way, I don't have to think about, holy crap, am I going to get optioned the next day? And that's never the spot you want to be in, especially because that takes you out of the moment, takes you out of being on the mound and focusing on executing your pitch. And it gives you that time to be like, hey, I'm struggling with this. What am I going to change to like see those results? Because, the game in AAA is not the same. It's the hitters aren't as good. And, you got the ABS down there. You got hitters that are more passive and all that side of things. So like being able to work through that up here with the best coaching that you have available to you and against the best hitters just helps you become the best version of yourself.
Libby, we talked about this as well. Just in years prior where you felt like you were out there pitching to stay alive and you weren't necessarily reading the execution or reading the swings or throwing the pitches that you felt comfortable in. You were just trying to execute to make sure that you stayed up. And that can be kind of a detrimental thing in the long-term scope of how you perform as a pitcher. Clearly, you're not doing that anymore because the Cardinals have committed to you and have committed to Andre. What kind of difference has that made for you?
Yeah, I think kind of to echo what Andre said, like we have a lot more resources at the big league level than you do in AAA or any other minor league affiliate, and the ability to like come out of a start that maybe didn't go as well as you would have hoped, and sit down with the pitching coach and the strength staff and the training room staff and put together a 5-day plan to get you into a better spot for the next time around is different than you pitch, you wake up the next morning, you get sent down, you got to catch a flight, you meet the team on the road or maybe back in Memphis, try to move into an apartment or a hotel. Like there's a lot of factors that have nothing to do with baseball that take away from your ability to work on the things that need to be worked on. And so knowing that like every 5 days, I'm going to get another opportunity to take the ball and execute on the things that I needed to work on. Yeah, it's definitely a stress reliever and it takes some of that pressure off of you, but I think it really gives you the best opportunity to grow from those things that need to be learned from. And I think that's an invaluable opportunity.
And look, no starting pitcher is going to go 32-0 with a 0 ERA. There are going to be ups and downs no matter who you are, no matter if you're an ace, if you're a rookie, if you're coming up. And I think over the last 2 weeks or so, both of you have hit kind of the like, okay, let's figure out what's next. We need to adjust because opposing hitters have adjusted to you. In years prior, it felt like, you know, for both of you in different ways, if there was a rough outing or if there was a couple of outings where things didn't go exactly the way you wanted to, it was like, all right, get them out. They're going to Memphis. They're going to go figure things out. Well, obviously, neither of you have anything to figure out in Memphis anymore. It's about, can you adjust to the major leagues, knowing that you're going to be here and they're going to give you that chance to do so. How does that change your mindset on how you attack hitters and make those adjustments in real time? Libby, go first.
I mean, I think you kind of hit the nail on the head. Like gone down to Memphis, maybe like 2 or 3 of those guys are going to be your everyday guys in the big league lineup. And to make a start that doesn't go your way and get sent down and go to Memphis, even if you do the things that you think you need to work on and you execute on those things better, you still have a little bit of doubt or maybe not full confidence in the ability to make that play at the big league level because of the fact that not every guy you face in AAA is going to be an everyday big leaguer. So to be able to go out after a rough outing and work on the things that you need to work on at the big league level, like that is the truest test of if those things are going to play or not. And I think being able to make that start every 5 days and make those adjustments can really give you some confidence knowing that the things that you worked on leading up to that start are the things that are going to play for you long term.
Andre, I mean, you just posted a bounce back outing against a very talented Toronto Blue Jays club through a quality start. Do you feel like, you know, what can you add to that?
Yeah, I mean, like, I'd say one thing that, like, you know, I go through, especially when it comes to this, is like sometimes you don't know what you need to work on. Like, that's also part of it. And you're not going to find that out, you know, in AAA, what's going to be the thing. Like, I look back at last year for me, right? And I, you know, again, struggling with right-handed hitters. And it was like, what am I going to do? How am I going to open up like a side of the plate? How am I going to get these guys off balance? And it was like, you know, in the bullpen, especially like last year, like you don't have the time to work on a pitch to like improve something like that if there's something missing. So like, you know, part of that process was learning what I had to work on at the big league level, because in AAA and AA, I didn't have those problems of getting right-handed hitters out. I didn't expose that until I was in the big leagues, and then I didn't expose like how I can surpass that until I learned that in the big leagues, and then I was optioned in a situation where I could work on that, and then I got better and I had a bunch of success. You know, this year again, same thing. It's like if something's not going right, you got to figure out what that is. You got to have some success to kind of figure out, okay, this is what I need to do to have continued success, and then you go and work on it. You know, like I think for right now, I was talking to Libby about it after the game. It was like, you know, I had the intention of, okay, what am I going to try to throw in like to be less predictable in my game plan? And it's like, I want to throw my curveball more. I think it's a good pitch for me, and it's something I want to do more of. And, you know, in my past, I never had to do it. And I kind of been pushing that off. And then, you know, just kind of the point where I'm like, let's just do it. You know, like when I have that opportunity right now, like I can go out there and just challenge it and try and do that. And I felt like I had some pretty good success with that yesterday, and it gives me something to build off of. So it just helps you analyze what you know you need to work on, and then that way you can actually work on it.
I think that's so important because as fans, it makes sense. You're locked in on every pitch and you care about the outcome of that specific day. And in a 162 game season, there are going to be some losses and there are going to be some bad outings. But what is really interesting about this season is that it is a transition year. And you do have, I mean, you guys have done a great job of making it not feel like a transition year. It's the most exciting baseball team I think we've seen since 2022. But it's a great point to say, you know, here's what we're adjusting in real time to, because we talk a lot about it with offensive players when young players slump, like, oh, they're just adjusting to Major League pitching. Well, Major League pitching also has to adjust to Major League hitting. And I think both of you guys have learned that, and we're seeing it in real time on how those adjustments take place. And, you know, both of you can speak to the talent level between AAA and the major leagues. It is vastly different.
Yeah, it's definitely a more consistent breed of talent at the big league level. I've always said that I think anybody who makes it to the big leagues for a day could stay there if they can figure out how to have their best day consistently enough. And so at the big league level, like, it's not that the hitters are far and away more talented naturally than the guys at the level below them. They've just figured out how to pull the best out of themselves the most consistently, which usually means missing the mistakes less and less. And that requires us to be more perfect. And I feel like right now this game is evolving at a rate that it never has before. And you're seeing more and more raw talent at the big league level. And I think that makes it a lot harder. And, you know, you add in the pitch clock and how fast the game is moving. I think the ability to make adjustments is as hard and as important as it ever has been before. You really don't have a lot of time to make adjustments in game. So your ability to figure out what's going on and be able to point out those things and make the adjustment on the fly is invaluable right now. And I'd say it's as tough as it's ever been before, but I think that makes it a lot more fun too, because you really get tested in your ability to accept what's happening, flush it, and move on to the next pitch.
Good stuff, guys. I think that's really insightful, and I think something that the casual fan doesn't get to see on an everyday basis. So I appreciate you taking us through that. We're going to get to the good stuff, the stuff that people really care about, like the relationships in the rotation and all that good stuff. But first, we'll take a quick break and hear from our sponsor, Huel.
If you're one of those on-the-go people, or you're skipping meals but you don't want to, there's got to be a quicker solution. We've got one for you. It's called Huel. I'm going to take a swig. Cheers to Huel. This is the Black Edition, plant-based as well. Good for me. But what do you like about it?
I like the nutrition of it, and the replacement meal is great for me. If someone always on the go, like, man, I can just grab one of these out of my fridge, lunch, breakfast, whatever it takes, whatever meal I'm not going to have time to eat. It fills me up, and it tastes great. You know why? Because it tastes like milkshake, ice cream, whatever you want to call it, whatever flavor you get is delicious.
35 grams of protein, 6 grams of fiber, 27 vitamins and minerals, low sugar. You can get yourself 15% off plus a free gift for new customers using the exclusive FT code FOUL, F-O-U-L, at Huel.com/FOUL. Please see our description for terms and conditions. Skip the stress, not the nutrition. Try Huel today for complete nutrition, bottled.
Okay, guys, let's break this down. In your rotation, everyone has a role, right? Everyone has a personality. You guys have a very fun rotation. But I want to know, with your 3 veterans, Sonny Gray, Eric Fetty, Miles Michaelis, who is who? Like, what's the role of each guy? What's the personality and how they treat you?
I'd say Sonny's kind of like the mad scientist in the best way possible. I think he is a genius when it comes to pitching and philosophy and thought process on the mound. I think Miles is probably the most laid back one. He's the guy you can talk to on start day. He's joking around in the weight room, trying to touch the ceiling, doing his vertical before a start. And Fetty's kind of in between. I think he's very intelligent. He has a very good understanding of himself, but he's also like a never too high, never too low kind of guy. He always stays pretty right in the middle. And so I think we have a pretty balanced group of veterans that we can go to and ask certain questions and get really sound advice from, but also keep it light and it's never too serious.
We actually have a lot of nicknames for Fetty upstairs. I came up with Fetty Wap, which apparently is unoriginal. Apparently people have been calling that for a very long time. But Daniel Guerrero started calling Fetty Steady Fetty because no matter what, like post game, he has very consistent demeanor for our interviews. So that backs up, Libby. That backs up what you're saying. Andre, what's your take on the three? I don't want to call them three olds. I don't know why I almost said that, but like the three older guys in the rotation.
I mean, yeah, Libby got it right. That's kind of who they are. I think there's definitely a little bit more like, I think Sonny's definitely trying to take on like the mentorship role a little bit more. And like, I know he pulled me aside a couple times and just talked to me a lot about it. And then I know like Miles, he likes to like, he'll blow into like a PVC pipe, like a horn, and be like, ready the troops on start day. Which is something that you don't normally see from most people, but that's how he goes about his business, and that's why he's always so collected and it's very consistent. And Fetty's just kind of a goofball for sure. Like I saw him just slamming balls on the ping pong table the other day, just doing whatever. So I mean, I think that's pretty much who they are, and they're all really smart and they're all really good pitchers, and they each do things kind of similarly, but also in a different way, and they've. Especially Miles and Fetty, like they got one went to Japan and one went to Korea to figure out how to pitch in the big leagues.
Bless you.
Thank you.
That goes to show, like they've had to grind through it before. They were in the similar situation where they were trying to figure out how do I pitch in the big leagues. And they had to learn in completely different environments with completely different coaches that probably didn't even speak their language, and they had to go through a translator or whatever. And they understand the struggle, so they understand what it takes to get out of it.
It's a good point. And I can confirm Miles Michaelis does blow into that PVC pipe because when right before, I don't know, our like 80th rain out of the year, I didn't know what the sound was. It kind of scared me. He came to the house and did it. And I was like, what's going on? And then it was a start day for him too. He said, the game has been banged, and then bowed and left the clubhouse. And I was like, doubleheader tomorrow, I guess. So shout out Miles Michaelis for the official announcement of Wednesday's rain out. Okay, speaking of Miles, he is one of the few that I have known the entire time I've been here. This is my 5th year, just crazy. Maybe I'm the old now. So I feel like I have a pretty good read on who's the biggest prankster in the clubhouse, and I feel like it's Miles. And Andre, I hate to do this to you, but I've heard a couple of stories involving you particularly where you've been pranked, and I won't say them, but I will ask you, is there one that's like, whether it was Miles, whether it was Wayno, that's you remember as being like, okay, they really got me good on this one?
I mean, there's too many to count. I'm definitely the target. I'm definitely the punching bag, the target dummy, whatever you want to call me for whatever these are. Man, I mean, yeah, there's a lot. I think they talk about. I mean, there's so many. I just don't know which ones I can talk about. So
That's fair.
so that's where I guess like one of them was like my first year up, and it was like the month or so in, and we ended up getting in like the benches cleared and the run out from the bullpen and everything and run out on the field. And I show up the next day and I've got this notice from like the MLB like, hey, you've been fined $5,000 for running out onto the field. I'm like, oh man, like holy crap, I haven't even received my first paycheck yet. Like I can't pay this right now. And then I check with our clubhouse manager, and he's like, yeah, they delivered it. They sent it to us today. Like, what you got? And, one of them, I think it was Miles that came up to me, or maybe it was Bader came up to me and was like, hey, like you should ask Nato to pay for it because he's the one that started the brawl and you just got his back. And I'm like, I'm not going to make him do that. Like, I'm just going to, I guess I'll just wear it. And then at the end of the game, he's like, Nato just hit like a walk-off. Like, now's the time to do it. Now you should ask him. So I go up to him like, hey, like, you got this? And he's like, nah, that's on you. And they tell me that it was just a prank and that Wayno had him printed out and put on my chair like before I showed up that day.
I just want to know why it was just you. Everyone from the bullpen ran out.
Well, I mean, I probably should. I knew that it was fake. I kind of knew it was fake. I asked the clubhouse guy, I'm like, this has to be fake. But one of the bullpen guys, McFarland, gave me a pretty good reasoning. He was like, oh, they just don't want guys who've been called up within like 15 days starting a ruckus. And I'm like, that makes sense, actually. I'm like, yeah, you don't want guys coming up and doing that. So I
the whole clubhouse. They even got Ernie, the clubhouse manager.
Yeah.
The entire clubhouse pranked you. That's pretty good.
I mean, they got they'll go to they'll stop at no lengths to get me for sure.
How did you find yourself in this role?
I mean, I think it's just my personality. You know, like that's something he was talking to me about the other day. Like, just people love to make fun of me. And I think it's because they know I take it pretty well, and I don't take it too seriously. But I think I've let it go to a point now where it's almost like customary.
Oh no.
I mean, it's also a compliment. I mean, Lance said, like, they make fun of you because they think you're good and that you're going to stick around. They don't make fun of guys that they think are just going to be gone. So I'm like, in a way, it's kind of a compliment. So I guess I'll take it like that.
That's true. That's a good way to wear it,
Yeah.
Andre. You're doing the best you can. I hadn't heard that one yet, though. That's a pretty good one. Livy, have they pranked you? You seem harder to prank in the most respectful way to both of you.
Yeah, I haven't had any like actual pranks done on me. I guess the only thing that I've had to do is the rookie dress up. We did Willy Wonka and the Oompa Loompas a couple years ago in San Diego, and I was Willy Wonka walking around with all of the Oompa Loompas on the streets of downtown San Diego on the way to our hotel. And we were supposed to go out to a bar or something, hang out there in our costumes, and we ended up, I forget why, but we didn't go to the bar. We ended up just in the hotel lobby, all hanging out together, and the amount of looks that we got walking down the street and into the hotel was pretty uncomfortable. But that was probably the only like prankish type of thing, but that's more of a tradition than a personal prank.
I do like, it's Miles who comes up with the costumes, right?
Yeah.
He's had some good ones. He's had, I can't remember what you guys did, but there were suspenders involved last year. Maybe it was that.
Was Bavarian last year? We were all in like
That might have been it.
Like I forgot because I had a Lederhosen because I did that for like the last.
Yeah, it was like Oktoberfest or something like that.
I do remember Oktoberfest. I also remember Andre having to do this multiple times.
Yeah, I've done it 3 times now.
That's too much.
Part of the Andre prank is like eternal rookie dress up.
Yeah, the cutoff is
service time and still dressing up.
Well, the cutoff is my amount of service time plus 1, so it's anyone with less than that, which of course always included me. But my first year, it was actually kind of cool because I don't know who bought all the costumes, probably Miles, but they just had like a bunch of them out there. And he had one veteran choose their costumes, and I had Pujols chose my costume. So I'm like, that's pretty cool. He chose me to be the crab. I'm like, heck yeah, that's kind of cool. So I'll at least have that.
I think the crab is one of the less bad ones. There was one where Miles was like the magician or something. Because I think Miles actually secretly likes to dress up. He loves a theme, right? But I can't remember.
I don't think it's a secret.
No, it's really. It's really
I mean, every plane flight, we'll be in our travel suit, the Nike travel suits or whatever, the sweatsuits, and then Miles will be there full top hat, sometimes a briefcase, a little cane. There's no secret he loves to dress up.
And he's always matching to the city too. Like Texas, it's a big belt buckle with boots and a hat. Like we go to Baltimore, he's wearing like a full black, like mobster type suit. Like he's always just trying to match the city, and he pulls together some pretty incredible outfits.
Yeah, I remember right before we went to Toronto last year, maybe like a week before, he was telling me all about all of his different outfits he was going to wear in Toronto because I don't think he was pitching that series. So he had a lot of time to plan out the wardrobe. And he was really excited about the Canadian tuxedo. So, yeah, meanwhile, I'm over here just scrambling to my Southwest flight, hoping that like my leggings are, I don't know, I'm just trying to get there, just trying to get to the game on time. You guys know how it is. Different kind of lifestyle. So think of me when you guys are on your charter and I'm like seaboarding on my 3rd flight of the day. And like they don't even give like good snacks anymore on Southwest. So that's another complaint that I have. You guys get like Chick-fil-A and I'm like, oh cool, here are these pretzels that I've had for the 8th time this week. So.
Yeah, but think after we have those Sunday night baseball games, think we're not getting it back home till like 4 a.m. So I think it averages out in the end.
It does average out. One time I saw Steven Matz on a Southwest flight, which I don't know why he was on my flight, but I'm like struggling going through TSA, I have all my bags. And he goes, do you do this every time? I'm like, yes. Yes, I do this every time.
That's what everyone does every time. Yeah.
Right. No, my favorite is a couple of you guys will ask like, hey, why didn't we see you on the charter? And I'm like, have you ever seen us on the charter? And they're like, no, we just kind of figured that you got like on before us. I was like, we're not on the charter, you guys. That's why we're always showing up at a different time, because we're on different flights. I had to explain that to Jordan Hicks like 6 different times in 3 years that we are not on the charter. All right, quick message from our second sponsor, Chubbies, and then we'll wrap this one up with a couple of quick questions with Andre and Libby.
Kratz, you look different today. Do I see Chubby's shorts on your shoulder?
Oh, the sick design. I mean, don't even get it twisted too, because the lining normally is like an SOS pad. This lining that's in the center is so soft, so smooth. The outside, so many things to choose from on chubbyshorts.com.
Facts. And the code FOUL for 20% off. I got the Tiger Sharks.
Ooh-wee.
Little blend of a tiger and a shark. It's beautiful. So don't wait. For a very limited time, shop Chubby's biggest sale of the year, $45 shorts and up to 65% off select gear. Hit up chubbyshorts.com and grab your favorites before they're gone. If you miss the sale, then use the FT code, FOUL in lowercase for 20% off. Support FT, let them know we sent you when the survey asks, and get ready to turn some heads. Summer's here. Dress like it in Chubbies.
Chubbies reminds me, Libby, you're an Arizona guy. Chubbies reminds me of my personally just insane run at Arizona State, where every single man wore shorts shorter than mine. And I will never not think of ASU when I think of Chubbies. So
Not a fan. You won't catch me wearing those.
no. Well, you're too tall. You're like 6'5".
Yeah, I'm all legs, so short shorts are not the move.
Normal shorts are Chubbies for him.
Yeah.
That's true. That's fair. All right, guys. Actually, on our next episode, we're sticking with the pitching theme. I'm going to have Dusty Blake on as my host on Friday. So what's the dirt? What should I grill him on? Give me some good scoop.
I only got one thing, but I don't know if I want to push that button or not.
Yeah,
Well,
Ask him about his walkout to the mound.
First of all, oh my gosh, if we're trying to pick up the pace of play, tell Dusty to get a move on. I get on him all the time. I know it's strategic. I know he's trying to buy time, but come on. The best was when he had that broken foot, so it took double long in spring training just for him to get to the mound. I was like, can someone get this guy like a wheelchair? This is ridiculous. He's so slow. But is there anything else? Any other kind of what can I get him on?
I don't know. I'd say like the walkout to the mound, he's got a little hitch when he walks, and I know that we've talked about it with him a little bit, so that bugs him sometimes. But outside of that, like, he's a really smart dude. He's very thoughtful about what he says. Like, he's very intentional. He's not just making conversation to make conversation. So I feel like he's pretty self-aware in a way that he doesn't slip up a lot. There's not a lot of stuff that you catch him saying that he didn't mean to say or that is off-brand by any means.
Yeah, pretty much just agree with that. I mean, I know the only thing you could probably harp him on is he's been asking me to try and like be more fun and be more entertaining. And I don't know, tell him he needs to do that himself.
He does. He does. I'm always trying to like get a laugh out of him, and he just looks at me. And he's like, "What is wrong with you?" And like, to be fair, there is a lot wrong with me, but come on, live a little. Yeah, he's great. I'm excited to see how that goes. I think he actually is so insightful, and I'm glad that this year, I think the fans are starting to see how his plan has really gone for you guys, because this rotation has really kept this team afloat during this really fun stretch, which brings us to our last question, because we have to get to the ballpark soon. For all of that was made of the season before we started, where it was, transition year, we're going to take a step back. This might not be the Cardinals team that we're used to having. You guys have essentially said, actually, no, we're going to be just fine. And for you two in particular, knowing that the future of the club, you two are going to be a big part of, how much fun are you having right now in this really surprising turn of events this summer?
Yeah, I think the last 2 years, especially for the young guys, we came into the season with a lot of expectations, and I think that that's a great thing to have. There should be expectations, there should be a standard, but I think when we didn't live up to that, it made it really difficult for us to find our identity and figure out who we were as a ball club when we weren't winning games. And I think coming into this year, hard for me to say historically because I've only been here for a few years, but I think this is the first time in a long time that everybody came in with no expectations. And sometimes I think that can be a really, really good place to build a foundation from and to grow from. And And I think you noticed it in spring training. Like, guys were just playing loose and free. We were looking for ways to have fun and connect with our teammates. And obviously, our goal is to always win a baseball game. Like, that's why we play. We all want to win a World Series. We all want to go to the postseason. But that can only be done if you take things one day at a time. And if you take it too seriously sometimes, I think you do too much. And I think coming in with no expectations this year, like, we just took the field and wanted to have fun. You saw Wilson in spring training, like, nobody had more fun than he did. And even now during the season, like, you see him out on the field joking around, having a good time. Mason's out there having a good time. He's got Nato laughing at third base. Like, our outfield is aggressive. Everybody wants the ball. I think just collectively as a unit, like, guys are going out with less expectations than we ever have before, which has led to us playing a very free brand of baseball. And I think that that's fun.
Yeah, and a little bit to build off that is just kind of like when you have those expectations that are so high and you feel that pressure, and then you have the shortcoming. Like, what was it? 2 weeks in the year, we were like 3 or 4 games under 500. Wasn't it? We went 1-9 on 1-7, whatever it was on our first road trip. Didn't go great.
It did not.
And like, that's one of those where that's when the spiral can begin. When you start having that pressure on yourself, then you start doubting yourself, and you start second guessing yourself and all those things. But like Libby was saying, when you're free and you're easy, you take the losses; those are going to happen. But you never show up to the field like, oh man, this is the beginning of the end. You show up to the field every day is a new day, and how are we going to win today? And really, I mean, even last night is a great example of it. Was like, man, what's going to happen? Then all of a sudden it's like, holy crap, we're winning 4-3 in the ninth. Didn't come away with the win, but like, we had a chance to win that game against another good ball club, and you just keep putting yourself in those opportunities, and it will go your way.
I think one thing I'll add too is like the runway that somebody like myself was given, or Victor Scott was given. The ability to like go out and maybe not have your best on a certain day and walk back into the clubhouse feeling like I have a whole support staff behind me, that the goal is to figure it out and not to get me out of here because I'm not performing at this moment. I think that really frees guys up to focus on, okay, let's move on to the next day and not harp on this day. And I think that kind of parallels to what you've seen the whole season. Like, there hasn't been a panic. There hasn't been, oh, so-and-so needs to get out of here. Like, he can't be at this level. It's all been, what do we need to do to figure this out? And we have an entire clubhouse and entire support staff behind us trying to help us do that. And I think that that's a very confidence boosting methodology of helping your players.
No, I think you're spot on there, Libby. And I here's a hot take. I actually think you guys are winning more games because of that mindset and because of that mentality from the organization than years prior. Because, I mean, both of you have really, I think, added to the win total. Victor Scott defensively is doing that. You're seeing what Mason Wynn can do on an everyday basis. Brendan Donovan should be an all-star. And of course, you have your cornerstones in Contreras and Arenado. But by going out there and letting the young guys just play, look at what Kyle Leahy is doing, right? Like, each person was granted some opportunity, and the players that were granted that opportunity have directly contributed to the win-loss record in a positive way. So I don't think it's out of the question at all to suggest that while maybe this wasn't what the organization had thought would happen, the consequence of allowing you, both of you and the majority of the team, to go out there and play every day and have the opportunity and have the runway has actually, I think, made you guys an all-around better team. And it's been really, really fun to watch. So thank you both for doing this. I appreciate it. And as a reward, I won't ask you for any extra favors for at least the next 7 days. So, and it also helps because I'm skipping a series coming up soon. So you get a full break from me. And I think that is a win overall. Thank you guys again for doing this. That's Matthew Liberatore. That's Andre Pallante. I'm Katie Wu. Cardinal Territory, we're back with you on Friday with Dusty Blake. And yeah, that's about it. That's all I got from you. Thanks as always for watching. And guys, thank you so much.
Thank you guys.
No problem. Thank you for having us.